Hi, welcome to English 110 online this week. This week we're going to take everything we've learned so far and we're going to put it together in our first core assignment, our first portfolio grade. And so this is going to count more than the individual assignments you've been doing, but you should be ready to have it count more by this week. So let's take a look at the Moodle page. The Moodle page shows this week you're going to view the video, which you're doing right now. You're going to view the slideshow for the review of the purpose, audience, and tone, which we already covered earlier, but it's just a good review for you, and I'm going to walk you through that this time too. And view the slideshow for the review of the memo and business letter format, which we've covered last week, but we're going to cover again for this week. You'll have your review for chapters 1 and 2 and Appendix A and B as necessary. So if you want to look at those again, you can go back to previous weeks and look at those Google slide presentations, or if you'd rather go into your book and review those, you can. But pay particular attention to these bits of information that I have right here. Your tech tips for emails are on page 29. A checklist for evaluating a memo or email is on page 30. The checklist for evaluating a work-related text message is on page 32. Tech tips for business letters is on page 40. And the checklist evaluating a business letter is on page 42. So those are the parts of the book that you may really want to go in and take another look at. You can review the Google slide presentation for chapters 1 and 2 and Appendix A and B if you need to, if you want to. So read the assignment document for your first core assignment and your portfolio of memos, business letters, and text messages. And then you're going to submit it on your Turnitin link, just like you've been doing. Okay, so first of all, let's do the review together. Let's look at the review for purpose, audience, purpose and audience slideshow. And so I'm going to pull it up here, and then we're going to take a look at it together. Find my view. Here we go. Okay, it's a little bit slow loading up, but that's okay. We'll get there eventually. All right, so I'm going to put it in present mode so we can look at it together. Okay, and it's still loading up a little bit. Give me a moment. Here we go. Okay, so this is the review. We've already had a whole slideshow on this, but this is just a review. Okay, so first of all, remember that workplace writing is done for at least one of 3 purposes: to create a record, to request or provide information, or to persuade someone to do something, particularly in the business world, to buy something or to accept a proposal you're making. So always be sure of your purpose. Make sure your correspondence is appropriate for that purpose. Consider who you're writing to, or who your audience will be, who your readers will be. Ask yourself these questions. Am I writing to more than one person? What are their job titles and areas of responsibility? What do they already know about what I'm writing about? Why do they need this information? What do I want them to do as a result of receiving it? And what factors might influence their response? Because all of those would be important to what you actually put in your documents. Keep your writing reader focused. Instead of being writer focused, it's all about you. Make it reader focused. It's about the person that's going to be reading it. So a writer-centered perspective would say something like this: if I can answer any questions, I'll be happy to do so. A reader-centered perspective is, if you have any questions, please ask. Or, we shipped the order this morning. We shipped versus your order is on its way. So keep it reader focused. Consider the tone you're conveying in your correspondence. Keep a positive, business-like, professional tone. and this is something that you had to do last week, is to revise something for its tone. You don't want it to be negative. Even the subject of this email is negative, littering. And then trying to emphasize things by putting it in capital letters or putting exclamation points is like you're yelling at someone. And then things like instead of making a command, make it a request. So instead of saying starting Monday, sand buckets will be provided outside the rear doors and in the picnic area, use them. Again, you're yelling at your person. So with a better perspective or tone, this one says outdoor ashtrays. That's a positive statement instead of littering. It has a more upbeat tone and encourages people to comply with the rules. And then your polite closing. Thank you for your cooperation in doing this. And so we're providing something for you to use. We so appreciate you using these sand buckets for ashtray, and thank you for cooperating. So that's a lot more pleasant to read than something that's you feel like you're getting chastised. You feel like you're getting you're getting barked at for doing. Okay, so that was the review of that. So let's get out of that, and let's go back and look at the other review for this week. On the oh dear, I have cut off the Nash middle page, so hang on just a second. Okay, so sorry about that. I clicked off the middle page by mistake, but we're back on there now. So there's another review for you to look at. This is from a memo, business letter, and text message format. So let's pull that up and take a look at it. And just a second while that comes up, and then we'll take a look at it. It's taking a little bit of time. It must be a busy time of day or something. We'll go ahead and put it in present mode, so as it pulls up, we'll have it up there. So I hope you're enjoying these slideshows because I'm putting them on here for your benefit. It's sort of the most important things that I find in the chapter and the things that you might need to review before you go on. Okay, remember our memos and emails use the memo format. Now the emails already have this information for you at the top. You just have to fill in the things that need filling in. But if you're doing a memo and you don't, like on company letterhead like this one is, City Manufacturing Company, it usually will have the word memo up at the top. Emails do not have that. But you have your four headings here. So you have your date, your to, your from, and your subject. And of course, if it's an email, the date and the to, the from will already be filled in. You'll just have to fill in your to and your subject here. And if you do a hard copy of a memo where you print it out on company letterhead like this, you will often put your initials over here as your signature on the side. Single line spaced within paragraphs, double line spaced between, or skip a line in between. Here's an email where you have your same paragraph breaks there. You can put a complimentary close to personalize the message in an email. You usually don't put that on a memo like the other one we were just looking at. But see, it still has the four headings at the top. The difference in that and an email that has a signature file is this down here at the bottom. So you have John Watson, Director of Operations, Office 333, extension 5550, and that is something that you can create for an email to show up on every document to let someone know information about you that is not included up here in the little heading at the top. Paragraphing is still the same, always left flush margin, single line space within paragraphs, skip a line between the paragraphs. Okay, here's the checklist for evaluating a memo or an email. The date, the to line, which includes the name and often the title or the department of the receiver. You put a comma between the name and the department if it has that. The from line, which includes your name, automatically generated in an email, but you would put it in, and your title or department in a proper paper memo, not a proper memo, but a paper memo. And then the subject line, which is like the topic of the message that you're sending. It's organized into paragraphs. Sometimes you don't need but one. Sometimes you might need more. But if you do need more than one, you put a blank space in between each one. You don't want to have any inappropriate content. You want it to be clear and simple. The appropriate business-like tone, not too formal, not too conversational, and certainly not barking at the person that you're sending it to. And of course, everything that you type should be free of mechanical errors in spelling, capitalization, punctuation, grammar as possible, because it's your professional representation. Here's the checklist for a text message. Remember, a text message has a limit of 160 characters, and that's including spaces and punctuation. So you want it to be short and to the point. You want it to avoid excessive use of texting shortcuts, like using the letter U for the word pronoun, Y-O-U, those types of things, which might be okay for personal texting with a friend, but in a business setting, we're going to keep it business and professional. Contains no sensitive information, clear, simple language, courteous tone, and no typos. If you want to see some expert advice on texting etiquette for the workplace, this is a live link. You can click on that and view that. I suggest that you look at it, because some people don't know the proper etiquette to use. But it's the same kind of proper etiquette you would use in addressing an email to one of your teachers here at school, or in a business situation. So you can keep that in mind, that this is not personal to a friend of yours. This is in a business situation. You can click on this to get an example of a letter in a full business letter in block format, so that you can see it. And again, it's taking a little bit of time to pull up here, but with your return address, the date, the inside address, the salutation with the colon at the end, spacing in between paragraphs. So you may want to pull up that document for reference when you're writing your business letter. Okay, so that's what we have going on this week. Now let's take a look at the assignment sheet for this portfolio and see what it looks like. I'm going to pull that up so we can take a look at it too. And see, my computer's being really slow this afternoon, but that's okay. Waiting for it to come up here. There we go. So here is the assignment sheet. Your resources will be chapters 1 and 2 and the appendix A and B in your textbook. the things that we're concentrating on this and looking at this assignment is that you have been able to determine a purpose, identify your audience, write effectively to achieve appropriate tone, followed established guidelines specific to various genres of workplace writing, the email format, the business letter format, etc. Craft clear, concise text messages and effective business letters in a variety of situations. So you're going to have an assigned email in this document. You're going to have 2 assigned business letters and an assigned work-related text message. And so you scroll down and let you see what we're talking about here. Okay, so again, here's your objective. And here is the actual assignment. Create one document for this assignment. So open your Google Doc and create the document, and then between the different parts of the assignment, insert page breaks so that it starts with a fresh page for each part of the assignment. And I've got the instructions right there for how to do that. It's really easy to do. And what it does is it takes you to a brand new page for you to start each new part of the assignment. Refer to the following, and this was also on the Moodle page where we looked at it a while ago, but the page numbers for these tech tips and checklists. And then finally we get to the assignment. The first part of the assignment is your assigned email. This is from your textbook. You're the assistant to the personnel manager of a metals fabrication plant. Monday is Labor Day, and most of the 300 employees will be given a paid holiday. The company is under pressure to meet a deadline. Therefore, a skeleton force of 40, all in the production department, will be needed to work the holiday. Those who volunteer will have the option of being paid overtime at the standard time and a half rate or receiving 2 vacation days. And if fewer than 40 employees volunteer, others will be assigned to work on the basis of seniority, with the most recently hired employees chosen first. So in other words, if you've been there a while, you get the day off. If you haven't, you got to step up and work. So what we're trying to do here, what is our purpose? We're trying to convince people to sign up for this. Now they're going to get paid overtime at the standard time and a half rate, or they can take 2 vacation days in place of doing that. And so the personnel manager has asked you to alert the affected employees and write an email to the staff in the production department. So it's going to be from you to the staff in the production department, and you're trying to convince them to volunteer for this, but also to let them know that if they don't volunteer, some people will be assigned to work anyway. So that's one thing to do. And then after you finish typing that, you'll insert a page break and you'll go to the second part of the assignment, which is right here. A consumer product that you especially like is suddenly no longer available in retail stores in your area, and write the manufacturer a letter ordering the product. This is an excerpt from your book too. It tells you what to do in an order letter, how it should be, what information should be put in there. So be sure and look at that. Now you're going to have to invent a lot of this information to go in this letter. So just create a company name, create an inside address, create all of that on your document. And once you finish writing that business letter, ending with your complimentary closing and your signature block, then insert another page break and go to the third part. Here's the second business letter, which is the third part of the document. In this case, imagine you've received the product ordered in the exercise above, but it's somehow unsatisfactory. In other words, it didn't come out the way you wanted it to. So you want to write the manufacturer a claim letter expressing dissatisfaction and requesting an exchange or refund. And here's a claim letter and what you need to have in your letter. This is again taken from your textbook. Remember, you want to keep a really positive term or tone there. You don't want to offend someone, because your purpose is to try to get your order straight and get what you want, and you're not going to get that by being insulting or you know, having a negative tone in the letter. So keep it upbeat, positive, professional. After that, insert a page break, and you're going to do your text message. So here's the scenario. You're on vacation, but you get a text message from your boss asking for a file that you already sent her as an attachment to an email a week before you left for vacation. So you sent it. She's now asking you for it. But you want to respond to her text in a professional, courteous manner. So complete a text message for this scenario. Remember, text messages can only contain 160 characters. Remember that a text message also represents your professionalism. So type it out in words. Type it complete words. Use your best grammar and mechanics and everything for this too, and keep it positive. You know, you don't want to send a message saying, "Are you crazy? I already sent that to you. Did you not read my email?" You know, you don't want to come off with that tone. You want to come off with a very professional tone, maybe telling her where she can locate what you had previously sent to her. So that's what we're doing this week. And if you have any questions during the week, you need some help or you need some advice, please contact me. Remember, Wednesday evenings from 5 to 6, I'm in Google Hangouts, and you can talk to me virtually that way. Email me, ask me questions, I'll respond. Call me on the telephone, stop by my office. There are lots of ways to contact me. And just to remind you, most afternoons I'm in my office. I get out of class at 1:30, and I'm usually here between 1:30 and say 4. I'm usually here, unless I have some kind of appointment or something. But 1:30 to 4, I'm generally in my office every afternoon. So have a great week, and contact me if you need me.